Hey guys, what is up? It is Nicholas from Vulcan Studios, and I'm here to give you a nice tutorial on the physical render engine that is built in Maxon Cinema 4D. Overall, the engine has come pretty far in the past few years, but it still does not match V-Ray or Octane or the other engines like Maxwell. It does touch up on your basic needs for realistic renders, though. The main reason for not using the physical engine is if you are have the workstation card, you spend all the money into it. But let's face it, not everyone can afford uh, the more realistic render engines, especially when you're looking at Octane, which is GPU based. It's actually purely you have to have NVIDIA GPUs, and that's a very nice unbiased engine, but it's very expensive if you look into it. The idea that you have to spend $1,000, $1,200 to get a computer that's working, and then if you need to get the key for Cinema 4D, and you're racking up a lot of money. So the physical render engine that is built into Cinema 4D would be the likely choice. So let's get right into it. I'm sure you guys are definitely here to learn some more about the physical engine, but the first thing we do have to do is that we have to create our object. Alright, so I guess you guys are getting a little bit of a tutorial on modeling while you're here. So I'm going to actually just start out with a nice little cylinder. I'm going to rotate it. So, okay, yeah, it looks fine. I'm just going to extend it a little bit. And honestly, it's not going to be the craziest render. I have better things to do than create crazy renders. Okay, maybe not, but still. So I'm just going to bring that up, and then I'm just going to duplicate it. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to object. Cool thing I've been doing lately is, which has just really been helping me out in the long run, is using the symmetry tool. So you can get the symmetry tool right up here where your atom arrays and booleys are, and I'm just going to actually group this and put it right under there, and then I'm going to put the symmetry on XZ. That way, oh, nope, never mind. ZY. Yeah, and that way it just works much better, and it's actually the wrong way. There we go. Alright, so now that we have that, so what I'm thinking of making, I'm just going to make a little biohazard kind of canister. Something really simple, but something that we can definitely show the beauty of the physical render engine that Maxon has created for us. Because with the right tools and the right mindset, you can pretty much make anything look incredibly good. Alright, so now it's really up to me, just just trying to make it look kind of cool. We're doing the really basic model, and as you see in real time as you're doing it over here, it is happening over on this side as well. So that's another really good thing about it. And I am doing this by eye. It may not be completely precise, but I do not have all the time in the world to show this. So alright, that looks kind of cool. Alright, and then right on the top of this, I'm just going to add a put that in there. I'm going to put that into the null object so that it appears on the other side as well. Alright. Okay. Alright, I'm just going to make that editable. And we're going to loop, and I'm just going to bevel it off right about there. And yeah, that looks kind of nice. I think that looks fine. Actually, no. I have a problem with it. 1 second. Let's bring it back. I don't like how small it is. It looks like it's part of this little canister here, and it's not supposed to, so we're just going to change that. Okay, so let's bevel it outwards once again. Okay, that looks nice. I'm just gonna, oops, I keep accidentally hitting the matrix extrude. All right, and there we go. Actually, maybe I'll bring that out a little bit. Actually, inner extrude. I'm not gonna preserve the groups, and that actually kind of looks a little cool. I'm just gonna bring that inward. Yeah. Okay. So that's just something very simple. Just to kind of give it a little bit of uniqueness. I'm just going to extrude once more and just bring that back up. Yeah, it looks kind of cool. I like it. Alright, very cool. Alright, so obviously with a biohazard canister, this is actually going to have to be glass, so let's start making the first texture. Luckily, unlike V-Ray, Octane, Maxwell, or any of the other engines, you do not have to create all new materials. You can just use regular V-Ray materials, though it is preferable to make sure it looks good, basically. You use SSS or something like that, but you know what? You don't have to go into make all those different changes to all your materials. So I'm just going to start down with transparency. I believe 1.23 is about the natural refraction. So reflectance, I'm going to just add in the ward, and then I'm going to bring default specular down to about 50 just because it annoys me. I don't like default specular. That's just my preference, I guess. It just annoys the living shit out of me. I haven't really figured out why. And then for the layer color, I'm going to put into a nice little for now. And roughness, I'm just going to bring up to about 10. Specular strength, I'm going to add bump. It's kind of up to you on that. And then for now, I'm still going to bring down to about 50 just because I don't really like it being so reflective. It really depends on how I'm feeling. Alright, so that looks like a pretty good glass right there. So, and of course I don't actually have any lights or anything in here, so it's not, I can't really do much to be like, hey guys, it looks great. Believe me. So what I'm gonna do, okay, so oops. Okay, make sure you put preserve groups back on, and we're going to take this, and we're just going to bring this up just so it looks more like a canister, you know, and then bring this much down, and bring that right about there. Okay, sorry to get a text. Alright, so that's looking pretty good in my opinion. Oop, wait, one more thing. I do want to bring this all the way right about there and bring that to about, yeah, yep, okay. And then extrude that inward. Just a tad. Just, oops, extrude, there we go. Alright. And the reason I went through the huge trouble, well not really huge trouble, but the trouble of doing that is because we do have to put a helix in there. Because it's a biohazard container, guys. Alright, so now to the helix. If you've never used it, the settings are pretty simple. The starting radius, we're going to be putting quite small, put it right there, right in the center, yep. And then the height is actually pretty good. We'll have to check in a second though. The end radius is going to be about the same. We're going to bring the height up. So now it's going through both sections, and obviously it's not looking very helixy. So we're going to add in some angles. So its ending angle is 7 something, and we're just going to bring that up. Okay, height bias. Oops. So 18, and then the ending angle, the ending radius, we're going to bring up to about 18 as well, just so that it is having a little bit of a ding in there. Alright, that actually looks pretty good. Alright, so next we're just going to put that into a sweep nerve, and then we're going to take a circle spline, and we're just going to drop that in the middle of it. And obviously it's a huge thing, so now we're just going to put that radius of the circle object down to about 3 centimeters. And that actually looks pretty nice, you know. Huh, first try too. Alright, so the thing that we do have to do now is that I'm just going to duplicate the glass, and we are going to put on the transparency, the absorption color to maybe a nice little green. And then a luminance as well, and we're going to put that on a green. And then we're going to spike that up to probably about 150. Oh no, we don't need 150. We're going to put that up to about 50% for luminance. Then I'm going to put some fog in it as well. Actually, I don't know if I'll do fog. You know what I actually could do? What you can do though, we're going to go to color. Oops. And I'm going to load in a noise. And this is going to be a nice dark green. And then we're going to load into a Luca texture and put that up to about 8 octaves, 300. And copy that into the luminance channel. Oops. There we are. Okay. Alright, we're going to actually add that fog in. We're going to put the distance on about 100 and the brightness as well on 100. And that kind of gives a nice little green look in there. And then the luminance we're just going to bring down to about 50. Okay. Yeah, and we'll see how that actually looks. I'm not sure. Alright, I accidentally deleted the circle, so I'm just going to put that back in, put that at, no, let's put that back at 3. No, I'm going to put it at 4, I think. We'll see. And I'll drop that right on that nerve right there. Alright, and it looks kind of good. Okay. So, next we have this, which is looking... Not sure what I will think to put on there. I think we're just gonna go with a nice simple metal, something that kind of really shows the HDRI, or actually just the lighting in general, properly. So I'm gonna put it up 100%. Gonna add the roughness to about 15% roughness. I think that's nice. Okay. 75 reflection strength, I think I'll do. Yeah, 20 specular. And the bump always, I'll put that all the way up. and then put a Fresnel on top of that and bring that down to about 50, yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm actually gonna have to adjust some of this. Put that as an additive, mix strength down to 50. Alright, and we're gonna see how that looks. I'm not completely sure how I feel about it, so we're gonna actually render it out first and see that. Let me just render. Okay. Alright, so there's a lot of green in there, and that's a problem. It's mainly due to this, and I think it's the luminance, so we're going to put that on maybe 15. But of course, with global illumination, everything will be a little bit different. I think I'm coming down with like a cold or something. Alright, so next we're just going to start and do a very, very simple but very effective studio. Alright. This is a technique that pretty much everyone learns, especially when you're just starting out and such. So we're just going to take a spline. I'll just use a Bezier spline and just drop it down. And there we go. And just make a little thing like that. Alright, there we go. We're just going to put that under a extrude, and then we just take that extrude, oops, and we'll change the Y value. Oh no, we don't want to change the Y. We changed about the X value, and we're going to change that to about, I'm thinking 5,000 maybe. No, God, no, 1,000. Nope. 2,500. Okay, no, that is 25,000. Alright. And there we go. We have a nice little, kind of like a mat there. Alright. So, I'm going to put our whole bio container hazard right there in its own little group. And then we're just going to set that right on top. Alright. I have this little thing where I don't like how everything's above the grid. So I don't know, it's your preference. So now I'm going to show you a little bit about the differences between not having physical but having physical enabled. So we'll see what it looks like both. So we're going to go into the standard engine right now. I'm going to put it on best 1x1, 4x4. It's going to make it really simple, right? I'll put global illumination and ambiance on. Now, ambient occlusion, if you do not know this, it's basically what simulates the shadows between the geometry in your meshes. So everything that gets shadowed right under here because the light won't be touching it and things like that, that's what ambient occlusion is doing. Alright, I'm going to put my maximum samples up to about 100. And then my global illumination. This is a little bit trickier to kind of understand, I guess. I'm going to put it on, I think I'm just going to keep it on default. I think that's just fine. Alright. So basically, your primary method, it's just going to be cache. The sampling, though, this is one of the things I really want to you to understand where you're talking about sampling. Alright, so these samples are basically the option that defines the accuracy in your piece. It defines the amount of samples for each shading point, and then when you record the density, it will optimize the samples. I mean, although this can really help your quality by saying like putting it to 200%, it will literally increase your render time by a lot. So I'm just gonna keep it at 75, nice medium, unless you have some godly graphics card. You're not gonna be able to take that, buddy. Okay, so next we're just gonna do some quick lighting. One sec. Okay, so I'm gonna do some really simple and basic lighting, but it's also very good lighting. All right, so basically I'm just gonna get a plane out, and then this is really kind of what you think looks good and where you place it and things like that. So I'm gonna put that one right there. So put that one right about there, and I'm gonna put this one right here, and I like to make this one a little bit smaller. Again, now it's coming down really mainly to preference. So in this one, yeah, okay, so now we have these three little lighting fixtures right here. Alright, so we're gonna make a material. Alright, so we're gonna uncheck color, reflectance, and we're gonna put on luminance, and I'm gonna put them all to, I'm gonna put it to 200, alright? And then we're going to readily adjust it. Alright. So, and I'm going to duplicate it because I do have a kind of technique I prefer. So I'm going to give it a little tint. Actually, you know what I could do? No, I'm not going to. Never mind. Alright. So we have that, and then I'm just going to create a regular material and put it on that. Alright. So from now, we're going to have to fix the lighting overall. So I'm going to render out that little piece right there. We're going to see how it looks. Let me just speed it up for you. Okay, so it's rendering out right now, and what I can see is that the material we made really brightened it. So we're just going to edit that a little bit instead of waiting for the whole thing to render out. So I'm going to actually just take the luminance off the whole together, and I'm going to go into the fog and put the distance on about 15. So the absorption distance as well of the transparency we're going to add to about 25. And we're going to see how that works. One sec. I'm actually going to put that on white. And I don't remember where we're getting this green from now. I really don't. Actually, it has to be the fog, yeah. Alright, so I'm going to bring the fog brightness to about that. Alright, yeah, so that looks fine. Alright, so let's render that once again. Alright, I actually just realized that we put the green on the cylinder as well when we should have put the regular white, because we changed one of the things and we didn't change the other. So what I'm going to go do is go back and put the fog up to about 100%. We're going to check and see how that looks specifically. I'm also going to go into the metal very quickly, bring the roughness up a little bit. Alright, so then I'm going to render out this region. Let's look how it looks. See how it looks, rather. Okay guys, so as you can see, it's just about done rendering. Right now, the glass is looking pretty nice overall. I kind of like how the glass is coming out, as well as the metal. It's kind of giving a nice little rough graininess to it. And the tube inside the Helix is actually, I expected it to actually look worse. It looks pretty good. I like it. So, yeah, it looks good. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go render it in the physical engine. And so under render settings, drop down from the standard and you can go right into the physical. Alright, so basically the biggest difference is in anti-analyzing, you don't have this minimum maximum level over here. You go by the filters. Basically, I'm going to put it on sync. All right, that's just going to give you the best image. All right. And then we're going to hop into physical, and you can put depth of blur on. We don't really need it because we're not doing any, we don't need any depth of field. I said depth of blur, I'm fucking stupid. But we don't need any depth of field, alright? Your sampler, as already indicated in global illumination when I was talking about that, it is just your accuracy overall, alright? Generally, just keep it on adaptive. You can change it, but it's up to you. I'm going to put it on medium. So the threshold is about 5. If you're going to just be checking and seeing, hey, this looks good or that looks good, keep it on like 15 if you're just doing the preliminary stuff. And then global illumination and ambiance, it doesn't really change much. It's pretty, they built it in so that you can still use your regular settings. They used to be a little bit different where it would be under physical, but so they really fixed it up, and it is much easier to use, as well as the render time is not a killer. So let's render the exact same portion about and see how that looks. Alright guys, so it's done rendering, and what I'm looking at right now, the lighting is actually turned out pretty nicely. I like how it's really showing the reflection, and the refraction is actually pretty good right there. You can see how it goes from around the tube. The glass, it's a little blurry, but that's also because of the settings that we did put it on so that we can really do the previews and such. And the metal is overall very good. I'm not using any textures or anything to really spice it up with like a SSS, but it still looks very good for just being completely made out of Cinema 4D. Alright, so I'm going to actually, just to show you guys, because this is only a beginner's tutorial, I'm going to beef it up with the materials. So let me go get some really sick materials, because I don't want to show you all my secrets, and we'll see how it looks, alright? Alright, so for a few things I want to mention, and just so you do notice, so of course, yes, they are different textures and everything. I want to let you notice, or make sure that you notice two things. One, that it hasn't even got past the pre-pass yet, and it's about 8 minutes in, so this kind of spiked about 6 times larger render time. So the other ones are about 2 minutes, and upgrading the materials and all of this with a little bit more luminance as well really upped it about another 10 to 15 minutes. Of course, if you're looking for the best, most realistic possibilities and things like that, you don't want to skip out, and I do not have the greatest computer, so that would be one reason why it is taking me so long. The second thing I want you to notice is the actual rendering right here. Alright, so it's actually, you can see, and I want to make sure that everyone really understands this, is that you can see where the light is hitting, where the shadows are, what's really getting hit, and you should notice that in the beginning. You do want to start being able to glance at it and look at it and be like, yes, that's rendering how I want it to. You can see that the green is really built up in here, and it spreads out and does get lighter, that there's not really huge concentrations of darkness or light where it shouldn't be, and overall you really do see how good it looks. It really comes down to the texturing now and seeing how that looks. So I'm gonna pause the recording until this finishes its render. Okay guys, so basically it's about done. It's just rendering the final pieces. So as you can see, the shadows are looking pretty good overall. The green tube is what I really put the focus on. Getting more to a realistic character. HDRI would have made it look a little bit better, as well as the very increased settings. And I actually get really annoyed right here because one of the light sources is bouncing on that. But overall, it looks pretty good. It's a clear tube, as well as the green tubes inside. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with how it looked. and how it came out. Hopefully you guys did learn a few things from this tutorial, and it did help. And I do want you to note that this did take about 30 minutes to fully render, so it does take make it take longer if you're trying to if you're trying to render more realistically. I just got a little tongue tied there. So hopefully you guys did learn a few things, and definitely should post what you did learn, or actually what you made out of this as well. So I know it's not V-Ray, which we will be doing tutorials in the future on, but you can definitely get some pretty nice characteristic and realistic renders.